A lot of people seem to be confused about how to eat for muscle growth. So I decided I'm going to clarify everything in this video. Why? Because I've made every mistake under the sun to try to figure out exactly what works and exactly what doesn't. Hopefully this will save you from doing the same. What's good, YouTube? It's your boy John Mango. I'm back again, repping Beyond the Iron, dropping weekly fitness content on this channel to help you get to your fitness goals faster and more enjoyably. Hit the subscribe button below if you're interested, which I know you are. At the end of this video, I'm gonna break down and give you a good idea as to how I approach my diet when it comes to eating for muscle growth. And before that, we're just gonna go through the steps, make sure everything's clear about how to do so for yourself. So first off is the fundamentals to eating for muscle growth, okay? Very first thing is gonna have to be a caloric surplus, right? You need to be eating slightly over how much your body's burning on a day-to-day basis in terms of calories, because that's going to allow you to have enough energy to obviously put on muscle mass. Also, it's important to note that you want that caloric surplus to be conservative, right? So not too large. People think bulking and they arbitrarily eat 4,000 calories because it sounds like a lot, or 5,000 because they're not gaining weight. You want to be very methodical about it. You want to approach it like a scientist. The slower, the more conservative typically is the better route to go. That's going to keep you lean, mitigate fat gain, and allow you to make more progress. The next thing is proper macronutrient split, right? Now, if you want a very detailed approach as to how to figure yours out, you can check this video out up top there, but I'll give you a quick rundown. You want to make sure that you're eating enough protein, typically 1 gram per pound of body weight, to make sure you've got enough to, again, build up that muscle tissue. Protein is going to be the key building block for that. You're going to want to make sure you get enough carbs. I hope that nobody out there is trying to do keto to gain muscle, as it's obviously been proven not to be very effective, but carbs are very important, and the type of carbs does matter to an extent, of course, for performance reasons. And also, fats are essential, but having too much fat could be detrimental to some of your body composition, and it's just not necessary. It's taking away space that you can put towards carbs to improve performance even more. So keep that in mind, figure out the macros after you get your calories down. And the last fundamental is, of course, weighing in, tracking your weight and your progress in the gym, in measurements, that kind of stuff, right? Now, if you're not tracking this stuff, if you're not tracking your weigh-ins day to day, you don't have as much data as you could potentially have. If you're not tracking your workouts in the gym, by the way, that's a huge one that if you do, will separate you and your progress from 90% of lifters. Tracking your progress in the gym ensures that each and every pound you put on, you are matching that with more and more performance. That's going to ensure that at least some of that tissue is going to be muscle as opposed to it all just being fat, because again, you're doing things arbitrarily like most people do. Now that we have the fundamentals down, let's talk about food selection. That's more so what the video is about, because I think people understand those fundamentals by now. Hopefully, if not, they haven't been subscribed to my channel just yet or seen my content, in which case I recommend you do that after this or even before it. So when it comes to food selection, people are still hung up as to, oh, is this food good for muscle gain? What about this food? Should I try this? I eat this. Is that good? Is that bad? So I want to go ahead and clarify the types of proteins, fats, and carbs you should be eating, and basically your whole nutrition breakdown. So keep in mind, at least 80% of your entire calories should be dedicated towards nutrient-dense foods. The reason why is because obviously they've got a lot of vitamins and minerals that help with the muscle growth and performance process, but also because that's going to make sure that you're actually hitting the macros you need. More specifically, your protein goals, right? That's always going to be the macro you want to hit first. After that, you hit the rest, but nutrient-dense foods is going to likely ensure that you do that. The truth is about what foods you should be eating is people overthink it, right? Look, a nutrient-dense food is a nutrient-dense food, right? We all know what a healthy food looks like, right? Is this a healthy food? The funny thing is it comes down to people overthinking things, because when I ask you if this apple is a healthy food, half the population in the world right now would probably say no, it's got sugar, it's bad for you. Overthinking, lies going around in the industry are holding you back from knowing the logical, rational, natural truth. This is a nutrient-dense food. Nutrient-dense food equals healthy, unless of course you have some sort of allergy to one, in which case you just stay away from it. And so with that said, there's no need to overthink. You will not build more muscle if you swap your tilapia out for chicken breast, right? right? Because it's just not that simple. It's not black and white, and it doesn't come down to one food automatically causing more muscle gain than the other. Because let's say that we did find that to be the case, and chicken breast does build more muscle than tilapia, but the person eating the chicken breast is in a caloric deficit. The person eating the tilapia is in a caloric surplus, and so in context, the tilapia will be better. With that said, in context, the foods, nutrient dense, that you prefer are the best ones to have, so long as they help you meet your macros and don't shoot you way over them, which they wouldn't if you're keeping track of things. Anyways, let's go ahead and dive into some more specifics here. So starting off with protein, right? What kind of protein is good? Again, nutrient dense. Let's go ahead and start off with lean cuts of meat. So I say lean cuts, that means ones that have less fat, typically things like turkey or chicken breast, right? So this is also good for cutting, obviously, because it's got less calories, but if you struggle to hit protein goals, then you can simply swap in a lean meat like that, or even fish like I said, tilapia, trout, sometimes salmon, though it does have a little bit more fat in it. You could swap those in and it'll help you get to your protein goals faster. Again, one is not better than the other. Bring it down to your preference. Now, if you want more or need more calories, and you could do so by adding meats that have more fat in them, or even fattier fish, like salmon would be a fattier fish, so it helps with eating more calories and still hitting your protein and some fat goals. Also, you can swap out like turkey or chicken breast for things like chicken thigh, and you can swap in like veal, beef, pork. Those kinds of things are going to have more fat, which allows you to hit protein and calorie goals a little bit easier. Also, things like eggs versus egg whites. Obviously, there's benefits to both, the egg whites being the leaner source, the whole eggs having the more calories, the more healthy fats in them. And of course, protein powder could be a good tool. If you want to know more about protein powder, you can check that video out, but again, don't overthink it. It's just another tool in the toolbox of foods you can use to help you get to your protein goals. Next up, we'll talk about carb sources, okay? This whole glycemic index thing is out there confusing people left, right, and center, and you know, somewhat manipulating the blood sugar level spikes here and there can be beneficial, right? So an example is that right after a workout, if you eat something that causes a faster spike in your blood sugar and a higher spike, then it's likely that those nutrients are going to uptake into the muscle faster. But faster does not necessarily mean that you're going to build muscle faster, right? Because this is a long-term process. Your muscle's building for the next 24 to 48 hours post-workout. And so what you need to understand is that if your blood sugar spikes very high, sure, there's a quicker uptake into the muscle, but shortly after, it's going to drop very quickly. This causes hunger a lot faster, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's something that you need to be aware of. On the other hand, if you have some carbs that digest slower and as a result bring insulin up slowly and blood sugar levels up slowly and then down slowly, meaning it's going to happen over a longer period of time, that works all the same. It's going to come down more so to preference, but also knowing that things that spike the blood sugar up faster will cause hunger sooner as well. So that's really all you need to know about that. And keep in mind, when it comes down to nutrient dense sources, typically the spikes in blood sugar are not going to be that massive anyway. So people think, again, coming back to the apple, people think that if you eat this, your blood sugar is going to spike, you're going to get hungry very soon after. That is not the case, because if you eat this compared to the amount of table sugar equivalent to the amount of sugar in this, it is not the same. The table sugar is going to get you hungry almost essentially immediately, whereas this has nutrients. You can get full off of eating 1, 2, 3 apples pretty easily, right? And it's got very low calories as a result, so it's very important to keep that in mind. And with that said, let's talk about the carb sources, right? So for slower digesting carb sources, you've got ones that are more fibrous, which is always a good thing. And that's going to be your sweet and Japanese potato. That's going to be your brown rice, or even parboiled rice works decently. It's going to be your quinoa, your lentils, and beans, right? All very nutrient dense, lots of fiber in them. It's good. Also, that's good, but will cause a little bit more of a blood sugar spike, which is not deadly, which does not cause diabetes, but will potentially lead to hunger sooner or not make you feel as full, because they also have less fibers. Things like white rice, white potato, by the way, both great sources of carbs again. Also things like bread or oat packets that have a little bit of sugar in them. rather than the plain oats, but just pick and choose the best ones. Pick and choose ones with a lot of fiber because you want to make sure you hit your fiber, and then the rest you can fill in with carb sources you prefer, even if they are white rice as opposed to brown rice. It's not a do or die. Your gains will be fine. Last is going to be fat sources. Fat sources, you know, we're just looking for healthy fats here, and what I mean by healthy fats is things like avocado, nut butters, which typically we want the organic, more natural based nut butters, the oil based ones, right? So organic, all natural peanut butter, cashew butter, almond butter, and those nuts as well. Walnuts are great, cashews, almonds, that kind of stuff, as well as avocado, as well as oil like olive oil. Again, the fatty fish and some of the meat's gonna have some of those fats that you can take from that as well, and that's really it. You don't want to be going too far over with the fats. Again, this is no keto bullshit over here, but rather you want to keep them at around a baseline of say 25 to 30% of your overall calories, and filling it in with those sources of fats are going to be your best bet. They're going to fill you up quite a bit, lots of nutrients, and they're just overall good for you. You see, people think about bulking and they think that they need to be eating garbage like pizza and donuts. It is not the case. I like to treat my bulks very similar to my cuts. So I'm trying to eat very nutrient dense foods for the most part, and the only difference is when you're bulking and you've got extra calories, those times that you decide to swap out some of your nutrient dense foods for the more calorie dense like pizza, you can do that more often. That's the only reason why it seems like when you're bulking, all you eat is pizza and donuts. Obviously, that's not the ideal bet, and your body composition will take a toll if you do that. And with that said, just to give you a quick rundown on my diet, I'm currently eating about 36 to 3,800 calories to keep me in a conservative surplus. Obviously, as I'm gaining, I'm slowly bumping calories and carbs up as well. Protein is pretty high, just over a gram per pound of body weight. And for me, I like to keep mine nice and clean, right? I like to have chicken, rice, sweet potato, turkey. In the morning, I like to have a power shake with dark chocolate, spinach, oats, that kind of stuff, frozen strawberries. You know, I'll have pears, apples, I like walnuts. So for the most part, Monday to Friday, I stay basically on point with all nutrient dense sources. When the weekend comes around, 1 or 2 of the days, I'll swap in some of the calorie dense foods, but again, I'm still always tracking, and I recommend you do the same. People think, oh, you're bulking, do you still track? Why do you do that? Again, very important that you do so. Be very, very precise, approach it like a scientist, and you will make some scientific gains. Trust me, those are the best gains. And not only that, you're not gonna have to cut 50 pounds when you're done. Trust me, you don't wanna do that either. Made that mistake, not making it again. That's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If so, leave a comment down below as to any questions you may have or what you'd like to see next, and I'll make the video for you. Don't forget to hit the like button, hit the dislike if you want to get roasted, because you know I'll do it. Don't forget to share with your friends and subscribe because I drop videos every damn week. Let's go.